Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We have a quorum. Thanks everyone who couldn't make it in for joining us online. Thanks everyone who did make it in. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. First thing up is approval of consent agenda items, which includes meeting agenda, the minutes from January 16th, the statistics and financial reports for January, and the usage statistics.
Yeah, that's just another catch-up kind of thing. It's been really spotty on our regular statistics page as to whether or not we include that each month. So I just wanted you to have the full data that we have, and I did make sure it was added on to this. January statistical report is right under total physical circulation on the first page, and it will be there from here on out. So just getting that sorted like I did with the reference questions last month.
Okay. So does anybody have any concerns or questions about any of the items in the consent agenda package?
I just couldn't see if the amount, I estimated the amount that you're spending on e-resources went up from 2023 to 2024 because the usage went up so much. So I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, so I think I talked about this at some point last year, but you know, it would have been like August maybe, so, or July. We have a meeting in July, yeah, so you wouldn't remember, but we voted to fund to 90% of the ask of the county because some of the libraries are still struggling a lot. But we also encouraged anyone who could fund to the 2022 amount, the 2023 amount, if it was less than what we were going to have to pay in 2024 to fund to that amount. So basically it's flat. What we're funding from 23 to 24 is flat.
Okay, but that's because of other libraries who are.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was really happy to see if the usage statistics are like ever increasing.
Yes, for everything, for physical as well as electronic resources. So yeah.
Even ILLs are. Thank you.
Yeah.
So moved.
Okay, Monica motions to approve. Sorry, Bob.
No,
That's your job.
Was that
No.
your job? I'm so sorry.
No, it was your job to motion to approve. It was my job to announce it. Robin's job, Pierre. Monica did motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll do the second.
Okay, Anthony seconds. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? Okay. Consent agenda package passes. Next on the agenda is comments from observers. I do not see any in person. We do not have any online, correct?
No correspondence.
Comments from friends of the library, and I will turn it over to Susan.
Yeah, the Friends have been very busy. We're in good shape. We fulfilled the wish list. I think everybody should know that. We're just starting to get ready for the spring flower show. We've been negotiating with the farm. We're gonna have pretty much more than we had last year, different from last year, some of the things. We're gonna have more individual pots. They are going to have the dragon wing begonias again this year. This year it'll be red and pink. Last year they were red and yellow. We're excited about what we're gonna be able to sell. We're also gonna have the birdhouses. We're talking about bird feeders. Partly we're thinking bird feeders might be more a fall thing, but we'll just see what we get, how it works out. Trying to think what else is.
Susan, do you have a date set for the plant sale?
It's the Saturday before Mother's Day, and I don't know that date. I wanna say May 11th, maybe something.
I'm gonna look it up while you continue
Yeah.
to report.
It's, I know it's the second
That's fine,
Saturday.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. I thought about that. I thought, no, I don't have that written down.
Saturday, May 11th.
May 11th. Yeah, so we're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for customers, so I think that's pretty much all that's going on the Friends. We're working on rewriting some of the website things. We finally have that up. I don't have that in front of me either. It's like, where did I think I was going, that I didn't bring that, but, a lot of the paragraphs that are written have been the same paragraphs for so long. We really need to perk them up and bring them into this century. And that's what we're working on. One of the board members is getting more involved with the SALSA system, which we share with the part of the library. We share it
It's
with the
the donor
library.
software
Yeah.
donor management software.
Yeah, so, she's getting really involved with that, so that's Laurie, so that's a good thing, so it's just like, a good beginning to a new year, pretty much. That's it.
That's it, okay. Thank you, Susan. And next up is comments from our commission liaison to the library bullet board. I believe our commission liaison is online. There's Ann. Ann, you're muted.
No, I'm not.
There we go.
I just said I was sorry that I was doing this remotely. I'd planned on being there, but we have a sick grandchild and we had to run around and help with the other one. And so I'm now eating my dinner. And I thought it better to stay home and eat my dinner and not be grumpy for the meeting because I hadn't eaten yet. So my apologies. A couple things with the commission. Right now, we just closed out asking for resumes from people to fill the new advisory boards and commissions, and we're going through those, and that's a gigantic job. We had a terrific turnout of people in the community who wanted to volunteer, but then the option is we have to go through all of them and recommend who we would like for each board. So that's what we're in the process of doing. Great news was that last Wednesday on Valentine's Day, Governor Shapiro came to Mount Lebanon to honor us with a visit and a press conference about our Main Street program, which is the economic development program we follow for the Uptown Mount Lebanon area. He was here for, I would say, a good 45 minutes to an hour. We've gotten tons of good press out of it because, when the governor comes to town, everybody's there and everybody covers it. And it kept just glowing talk about what a great town Mount Lebanon is. So that was a real positive. Trying to think what else. It's kind of a quiet time right now as we start to gear up with all of our studies and things that we've funded. So I should have some more to report as we move on, but right now it's blessedly quiet and we're kind of enjoying that because we have all these resumes to go through. So there you have it. Any questions, concerns, anything I forgot to answer that is burning question?
Anyone?
Okay. So easy.
I don't think so. Thank you, Ann.
Sure. Thank you.
We'll move on to my president's report. I only have two small things. One, I mentioned at our meeting last month that this board has to do a director's review as part of its yearly mission. Last month, I think I said I really didn't know anything about it, needed to get some stuff from Robin, and needed to talk to my predecessor. Both of those things have happened. Robin sent me some material. I also talked to Evan, who filled me in on what he had done in past years. I have a Google form set up that's like half finished. I just need to finish editing it and put it together, but I'll have it all out to you, I would say within 2 weeks for you to fill out and send back to me so I can compile that for Robin.
Just for your information, when Keith does my evaluation as a department head, he typically looks at the year in review from the previous year and the goals for this year that I shared with you all at the January meeting. So you may want to look back through your board minutes from last month to take a look at those.
Okay, thank you.
Those were really the general library goals.
Yes.
Okay.
Second thing, as Ann just mentioned, we will be getting a new board member, I think either next month or in April.
It'll start in April.
It'll start in April. So before that, I wanted to give everybody the opportunity. It's my belief that seniority should count for something. So if anyone who's on the fundraising committee or the governance committee would be interested in switching committees, please email me, contact me, call me, text me, let me know. I can't promise it, especially if everybody texts me and wants to jump committees. But if we can work it out sort of amongst ourselves and everybody's happy with the role they're playing on the library, we will put the new person wherever we have a vacancy. So if anyone is interested in jumping from, again, either fundraising to governance or governments to fundraising, please let me know sometime within the next month.
I
And
think technically, we need to do, a formal election of officers since we have a vacancy.
that's in March, or that's in April.
I think we need to do it from, we've done it.
Would that
in
really affect
April.
committees though?
It would not affect committees, but, I think it's at our annual meeting, which is in April, that we actually have to do the vote.
Okay,
Yeah, the annual meeting, which shall be for the purposes of the election of officers and the adoption of the annual report.
I would like the new person to be able to vote on officers, even though they're really not gonna know anyone and probably are just gonna be fine with whatever we put up. I think it would be, right?
Right, so that'll be in April, so we
Okay.
just need to
So we
have
will.
nominees for the vice president position, and if anybody wants to switch around their current.
Okay, so in March, we'll make any announcements as far as committee switches, and we'll also make sure we know what officers we're gonna put forward for the next year. At a minimum, we're going to need a vice president, because we lost our vice president. So maybe be thinking about if anyone wants to take on a bigger role with this board. You can email me or call me about that too, if you wanna discuss. We'll discuss that in March. We're able to discuss that in March and vote on it in April, correct?
Yes,
I think that's a good plan. And that was all I had, so we can send it over to you, Rob.
okay. It is a very busy time at the library right now. So right now, for me, I'm working on two massive things. Our state report that I have to submit to the Office of Commonwealth Libraries. And Sharon and Nick and I are doing evaluations for all the staff members for the municipality. So we're working on all of that. Yesterday, our staff, the library was closed, as you know, for our staff development day. It seemed to go very well. We only had 2 people that weren't able to attend. And I shared some statistics from 2023 that are going into the annual report that I am working, compiling. So I just wanted to share them with you really quickly. In 2023, we welcomed 301,832 visitors, which is an average of 87 per hour and an increase of 21% over 2022. Yes, it's not quite back to pre-COVID levels, but we're getting there. I think this year we'll probably get back
What was
to
it per hour? What was the number per hour?
87 visitors an hour. Before COVID, we were up to 105 visitors an hour, over 350,000 visitors, but yeah, we're working on it. We answered 24,825 reference questions. We hosted 1,091 library programs, including Mount Lebanon Speaker Series with Colson Whitehead. We circulated 595,509 physical items and 162,485 electronic resources, which is 727,994 items, or 211 items for every hour we are open. And we welcomed 1,685 new library card holders. So it was a very good year. We also upgraded the furniture upstairs. We installed the book lockers. We installed Public Works installed new sidewalks and flipped the switch on our solar panels. And we were awarded from the Pennsylvania Library Association, the David J. Roberts Excel Award for our youth service, outstanding youth programming. So it was an excellent year. We've got an excellent year coming up, and we're really excited about all of that. Okay, so that. So it's Staff Development Day. We talked about our e-resources and databases. So one of our expert librarians gave a review to all the staff so that everybody's aware of all of the different things we have to offer, because it's easy to forget we have so many different things. We talked about customer service, meeting, the children's librarians got some early literacy training. We had active shooter training from MLPD, readers advisory training, and then worked on department projects and had staff meetings. So it was a very productive day. Let's see. We just late last week, received a request for reconsideration for one of our children's books. So per our procedure in the collection development policy, I have responded to that patron by letter. And hopefully it goes no further than that. The book in question was In the Night Kitchen by Maurice Sendak, copyright 1970, 1971 Caldecott Honor Award book.
So Robin, just a point of reference, reconsideration suggests that the patron was asking that the book be removed from the children's stacks, correct?
Essentially, yes.
Okay, okay.
I'm trying not to go into too much detail in a public meeting, but they were disturbed by some of the drawings which depict a very young child in a cartoonish manner in the nude. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The governor released his recommended budget a couple of weeks ago. They are recommending flat funding for public libraries across the state this year. So if you are able, please contact your representative or senator and ask them to increase library funding because of all of the important things we do to help basically shore up the social fabric of our communities and make everyone's lives easier and better. And I wanted to remind you all that on March 23rd, here at our library, we will be hosting the PCBL, Pennsylvania Library Association Friends and Trustees Institute. I know not all of you are able to come. In the next week or two, I will be sending out a lunch order survey for those of you who are planning to attend. So we'll provide lunch and we'll have the rooms like this set up so that you can go to the sessions you want to attend. And then after the day of, that code will be good for 90 days after. So if any of you want to get the code and just check out some of the sessions later, we can do that because I know we'll be away and some things like that. So
There are concurrent sessions, right?
yes, there are, I think, 3 sessions in each time slot. And there are maybe 4 time slots or 5. There are a lot of sessions. It's really it's a really comprehensive day.
Will you sort of be choosing the ones that we'll do when we're here? Is that, or Susan?
I will have 3 rooms set up with AV, and then you just attend whatever session speaks to you.
Thank you.
Okay, 2 more things. The Winter Reading Challenge is still open for everybody until March 20th. So please sign up to read and win great prizes. And our Michael Pollan tickets are still on sale for his May 1st speaker series event. They're $25, and we're always really proud to see board members there because it's an amazing event and it nearly always sells out. And we want you to see what you're helping to create in this community.
What date is that on, Robin?
It is on May 1st. I think it's a Wednesday. That is all I have for that part of the report.
Okay. Thank you, Robin. We can move on to committee reports. And Anthony, according to the agenda, fundraising is up first. Is there a fundraising committee report?
Just a quick, 2 quick items relating to the garden tour on June 23rd. Marina sent an email to Robin and me middle of last week, indicating that a 4th garden has been secured for that day, and a the second part of it is a request from Marina to both to all of us to use our social media to both promote the event, but to also indicate that gardens are still being sought. So both items related to June 23rd, and that is it.
Okay, thank
And
you.
it's incredibly important that we get enough gardens to keep this going. I mean, we've had this event for more than 30 years, and I would really hate to
Mhm.
see it fail. We just need to spread our nets wide. And I don't know if you think it's appropriate for me to ask the commissioners, but between the 5 of you, you have connections with every part of Mount Lebanon. So I would love it if you could help us get the word out about needing gardens for the tour. If that's not appropriate, I won't send an email to you all, but I would love it if you could help spread the word.
Robin, I have a question on that. So and again, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but could the police department be invited, or the police chief, or the fire department? People who are recognizable in the community, if they had a garden. But you'd have to ask them, you'd have to reach out to them, because I've known of other places where they'll go to maybe the doctors in the town, or maybe the commissioners in the town, and just ask.
Yeah, I did ask at the last department heads meeting, so they're all aware that we are searching for gardens. I think some people almost need to be asked specifically, like, Susan, will you please put your garden on the tour? And if you don't know whether or not they have a garden, or, that kind of thing, it's difficult. So I'm not sure, but we'll do everything we can, and if you all can do everything you can, I'm sure we'll find the 2 more gardens that we need. And the important thing is they don't have to be big gardens, they don't have to be fancy, $1,000,000 home gardens, just anybody's garden. One of my favorite gardens was a small little house down by the Galleria that had a beautiful chicken coop. Like, they had such a small backyard, but they had this amazing chicken coop, and just like their garden was just so full of life and joy and color. It was fabulous. So I'm sorry, Anne, did you want to say something?
No, I don't need to say anything, but yeah, I think it's appropriate. I can certainly ask the other commissioners if they have gardens. I would volunteer mine, but I don't have one. I hate gardening. I have
That
to
is
admit that, sorry. But
I mean, you're all so familiar with your wards and your neighborhoods
Yeah.
that you might know of somebody that's just not on our radar yet.
Sure.
So
sure.
I don't know if all of you caught the question that Holiday put in the chat. The answer to that is yes. If anybody is interested, just have them contact Marina directly.
yes.
And on the subject of volunteers, which I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself on this, but I was going to begin rounding up volunteers roughly April 1st, start sending a note out around that time. If any of you think that should go sooner or later than that date, just let me know. I am cautiously optimistic that even if 3 out of every 4 from last year are able to participate again, that would be great. But again, I'm shooting for ballpark April 1st. And again, I can tweak that date a little bit if there's a sense that I'm either hitting that too early or too late in the preparation cycle.
Okay, and I'll let the Mount Lebanon Neighbors and Newcomers group know when you do that, and also the Lions and the Rotary, because I'm involved with all 3 of those organizations. And I can give the information to Jane, who is our senior services librarian, and she visits all of the local apartment complexes and senior homes. A lot of those folks love to do that kind of thing.
Yep. So like I said, probably April 1st. And if there are, in between now and our next meeting, if we do secure another garden or 2, I'll just send a quick note out to all of you just so that you're aware of it. Excuse me, just so that you're aware of it. But again, we're at 4. 5 is the minimum. 6 would be a nice sweet spot. Last year we had 7, which was a real treat. But at minimum 1 more, preferably 2 more, and we'll be in good shape. And that's it.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yep.
Governance committee. So the governance committee, which at the moment just consists of Kristen and I, we did meet with Robin last week. We have begun to outline our priorities as far as revising the library, certain library policies this year. We have identified 4 policies that we want to get done in the coming months. One of them is a rollover policy that we didn't quite get finished last year. That is the patron behavior policy, correct, Robin?
Right,
That's the one that deals partially with weapons in the library and various things that we wanted to run by the municipal's attorney, which Robin has done. We have gotten feedback on that one. So the 4 that we want to tackle as a board this year are that patron behavior policy, which is rolled over from last year, the library program policy, which is that one was last amended in 2019, but I think your staff has asked for further review on that one. Is that what's going on with that one?
yeah, so some of the policies, like the program policy, meeting room policy, have been recently updated, but we want to just clean them up to make sure that we're covered with some of the problems that are currently occurring in libraries. So that, you know, our meeting room spaces are used in the way in which they're intended, that our programs and displays and, what's the other thing? Programs, displays, and collections are all handled kind of in the same way if there's a challenge against any of those things. So it's really just getting everything in line and making sure that we're all on the same page and handling things in the right way that make sure we're being true to our mission.
So again, patron behavior policy, library program policy. The third one is the fiscal authority and responsibility policy, which has not been updated in 24 years.
Right, and that, a lot of that has changed because of COVID. Like, used to be, if we had an invoice for $8, then I would have to sign a check and the treasurer would have to come in and sign a check. And since COVID, we've been doing everything electronically and we no longer have 2 signatures on things. So we want to make sure that, I mean, it's all going through the municipal software, so it's all legit. Our audits are, you know, are always great. We just want to make sure that our policies line up with our procedures.
The fourth one is the lending policy. That one got an update in 2021, but I asked for us to take a look at that one again because that's the one that sort of brushed up against the patron complaint that we had last month. And also it's one that the way Robin's staff is dealing with lending does not perfectly match the policy like I think it should. So we're going to take a look at that one as well. So those 4, library program policy, patron behavior policy, fiscal authority and responsibility, and lending. I'm hoping one thing according to our calendar, I'm supposed to ask all board members to read those existing policies as they are now, to start sort of familiarizing yourselves with them so that when the governance committee brings in suggestions for updating them, we will have a base level to work on. There's also a 5th policy that I believe we're creating from scratch, the display policy, correct?
The display policy.
Robin
yeah,
can
and
speak to
that'll-
that about why she thinks we need a display policy.
Again, it's to get we already have a very well updated collection development policy so that we know what to do in case of a challenge to one of our materials like I'm dealing with right now. But if there is a challenge to any of the programs we host or any of the displays we have upstairs, for instance, a Pride display in June, we want to have our policies clear on how to deal with any complaints or concerns about that from the public.
Sorry, can you repeat those ones again? The
Sure.
program policy, the patron behavior
It's
policy.
library program policy, patron behavior policy, fiscal authority and responsibility policy, and lending policy. You're welcome. And then again, we're also going to create a display policy, but that one does not currently exist.
And you can find these on the main page of our website. If you scroll all the way down, there's a list of little sub headings, and policies is one of them.
So it's not a mad rush on this. The way our calendar is outlined, the governance committee will be meeting pretty much every month now between board meetings to work on these things. We'll be working on them in March, we'll be working on them in April. We will come to the board for feedback or possibly to provide information on some of the things we're looking at. And then in May, we'll be officially presenting what we think would be the best way to update those policies to the board. And then in May, the board as a whole, correct? That's
In
all.
July, we'll vote on them.
Yes.
And so you have 2 months to.
In May,
look
we
at
can
our
discuss
changes.
it. In May, the governance committee will present what we think the best way is to update these policies. We can discuss them in the meeting. The board at large can make recommendations, question some of the changes we've decided to make, alongside Robin and her staff. And then July, we will vote to approve. And if things go well, we will approve all 5 of these in July, but we'll see how it goes. We do have the back half of the year if we need to
Yes,
update some stragglers. Definitely want to get the patron behavior one locked down since it's been lagging, but like I said, Robin got us some good info from the attorney.
I did,
so-
and I'm also going to talk to Jason Haberman, the MLPD, because one of the things Phil Weiss, our legal counsel, said is that our entire library building is most likely within the school zone across the street. And school zones are one of the few places in Pennsylvania where you can actually prohibit guns. So I just want to talk to Jason before we put anything like that in our policies, even though Phil has looked at it, because my predecessor, I know, had tried at one point to put gun-free zone signs on the doors and was told to remove them. So I just want to make sure that everybody that has to do with that is on board with me going forward, if there's a way to do so.
Yeah, I actually read up on the gun-free zone stuff after the governance committee meeting, and it's weird because there was a law that the Supreme Court overturned, and then they brought it back with a bunch of sort of fine print, and it's tough to suss out, but I still think there's a way we can incorporate it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna
So-
hash that out.
To remove them by whom?
I'm sorry?
You said that, the previous director had put up signs and then was told to remove them.
I believe the municipality, I'm really not sure. This was all before my time and it's just, I'm just relaying like a third-hand story I heard 5 years ago. but-
The gun weapons language stuff is really tricky. I've seen some of the stuff that's already sort of being proposed and it's going in a direction I'm happy with. So it's like, we're gonna get it, I think, as hard as we legally possibly can, but we'll see.
Yes,
So that's the plan. Again, nothing that the full board really has to worry about until May. I just am hoping everybody can take a look at those policies, have them in their mind and sort of be thinking about it as we start to talk about it. And if the governance committee finds ourselves in an impasse in which way we want to go on certain language or something, we may be bringing in, we could come in earlier to a board meeting with, hey, what do we think about this? So just be prepared. That is all I had for the governance committee, which moves us on to old business and a much needed elevator repair.
and do you want to do the honors?
Ann is muted again.
I unmuted. I have a dog, and so I'm pretty sensitive about muting because sometimes she barks and that's pretty disruptive. Yes, the elevator part finally came in and was installed, and it is now operational. And, we really couldn't be more pleased. We're still waiting for parts at the rec center to repair the ice rink chillers. So unfortunately, I don't know what to say. I don't know why it takes so long to get things, but it really does. And so we're all thrilled that elevator is back and up and running. And just so everybody knows, at one of the more recent meetings, we had a woman attend who expressed concern about the elevator, and I did communicate with her and let her know what was going on and copied Robin on all of that, so Robin knew what I was saying. So that's been taken care of, and we haven't heard anything more from her.
Thank you for doing that, Ann.
Sure.
Okay, did we have any other old business anybody needed to address? No, then we shall move on to new business, which according to the agenda includes library space planning and renovation.
Yes, this is fun. Okay, since you all aren't here, I can't really show this to you, but we have been, as you know, we received funding, a large bequest, which the Friends of the Library are currently holding for us because it went directly to them, to upgrade and kind of cosmetically renovate the children's library. So we also have a lot of donated funds and other smaller bequests and donations from, you know, group donations for people that have passed and that kind of thing. So our fund balance and our unencumbered donations are pretty healthy. So while we were thinking about the things we'd like to do in the children's area, we were also thinking about if there are any other things that we need to do upstairs just to improve the flow and the look of the library, the usability. Anne mentioned the lady who came and was talking about, you know, access for people with disabilities, and our bathrooms are sadly in need of an upgrade. So we have a whole list of things we would like to improve upstairs, even though it's a beautiful building, you know, it can always be better. We have the funds. And so we reached out, Jeremy, I should say, I don't want to not give him the credit because the amount of work that man does on talking to vendors and making great negotiations with us cannot be overstated. But so he talked to several different architectural firms about whether or not they would be interested in helping with the space planning aspect of this project. And he had very little luck because it is a large for us, small for architecture firms. But there is a local firm called the Draw Collective. I don't know if any of you are familiar, but they're right here in Mount Lebanon. And
I know them.
and the architects are actually frequent library users.
Yeah.
One of them has a little girl and they're here all the time. So they were thrilled to come meet with us. We walked over the whole building and they sent us a proposal for their architectural services, which includes reviewing the floor plans, developing the plans and some different options for what we want to do, prioritizing the children's library. That'll be the first thing we do. Make some renderings, have some focus group meetings with staff, with the public, and do some estimates for us and that kind of thing. So here is and I will share this with all of you via email after the meeting. I'm sorry you're not here to look at it. I didn't want to put it in our public, you know, board minutes. So that's that. The Draw Collective, they sent us this beautiful proposal, or their qualifications, and the work they've done with local schools and libraries is absolutely just an incredible list. They're currently working on an elementary school in Upper St. Clair. The picture on the front of this, and I know you can't see it, but you can go to their website and see some of the work they've done, is actually the Public Library of Steubenville in Jefferson County, where that was my first library. That's where I grew up. That's my first library card, the library I worked in as a page when I was a kid. And yeah, they recently did a renovation because it was the last Carnegie Library that wasn't ADA accessible, and it is now ADA accessible. It has meeting space. They did an absolutely stunning job. I got a behind the scenes tour with the director a couple of years ago, and it's amazing. And the work they've done at these other libraries and schools is just as sensitive and thoughtful and really just quality work. All that said, I know nothing about this stuff. So I emailed Sherry Mosier, who is a former library board member and currently friend of the library board member, and an architect who owns Mosier Studios. She is an absolutely brilliant person. And I just asked her to overlook the proposal and tell us if that's in the ballpark of what things should cost, if what they're doing, what they're telling us makes sense. Because like I said, I don't know this stuff. And she said this seems to be the right scope for master planning, the fees are commensurate. Basically, she said they have a long history of solid work. And she felt their fees are right on par with what they should be. So I feel good about going forward, especially because nobody else wants to even talk to us about this job. But I think even if we did have other options, this would be a very solid one. And this is just a proposal for, like I said, the initial planning work. If we actually have to do any construction or purchasing new materials, new furnishings, that kind of thing, we won't necessarily still be working with them, but they're going to help us source some of these items, which is also difficult because, as Ian said, we're still having supply chain issues for this kind of thing. Even though I can get grape nuts at the Giant Eagle again, you can't get parts, you can't get furnishings to come in without waiting for months and months. And they may know some insider secrets that we don't know.
Okay, so that's all very exciting.
Yes.
I'm assuming you don't need any board action or anything on that, it's more of a.
No,
Yeah.
no action. I'll send it to all of you, like I said, via email, so you can, take a good look at it. And if you do have any concerns or questions,
Is there, what's a rough timeline for this entire project?
well, that's one of the things they're gonna do for us, because
Okay.
we don't know. It's gonna be, we're hoping roughly, very roughly, to do the planning this year and start implementing some of the ideas next year. So, we'll see.
Well.
Yeah, but like I said, I'll send this to all of you. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, let me know. I'll make sure that you're included in invites for the public focus groups and that kind of thing, so that you can provide your input.
Okay, did anybody have any other questions about that for Robin?
I don't have a question, but just a comment for everybody. This is considered a professional service, and so it doesn't have to be bid out to find the lowest possible bid. Professional services are there's no need to do that kind of bid. I'm familiar with Draw Collective, have worked with them on a number of different projects, and also with Sherry Mosier, and so I think we're in really good hands with both. And so let's go forward.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Did anyone else have any other new business we need to address?
More of a question than anything else. Was I the only one that received, or has that gone out to everybody, the annual, what's it called? The declaration sheet, no conflict of interest. I forget the name of the form. Mine came in the other day, and I just want to make sure everybody else got theirs as well.
Statement of financial interest. You all should have received
That's
one
it.
from the
That's it.
municipality,
Yep.
and it will be due the end of April.
They're due at
Thank
the
you.
end of
That's a
April.
reminder. Yes.
Yep. So all good though.
Okay, so last month, since a large majority of us were online instead of in person, we decided to adjourn and then do the advocacy moment. I see Robin set it up that way in the
Yes,
agenda again
that's
today.
okay.
And since a solid half of us, more than, half of us are also online again today, we're gonna go ahead and keep this flipped. So what that means is the people in the building, you're all stuck with me. But anybody who's online who doesn't want to take part in the advocacy moment, Kristen, I know you're sick. Feel free to log off. We will not hold it against you. Thank you for coming
So,
tonight and being
Just
with
say
us.
formally for
Oh, yes,
the
formally, the
municipality.
meeting is adjourned. And you may stop
7:43.
recording.
So recording will stop now.